Would you support a mandatory retirement age of 75 for U.S. House, U.S. Senate and AMP, U.S. Supreme Court justices, and if not, why? 70. And as for president, no one can run over 65 FFS. Get with the program, folks, just retire. I personally believe 65 should be the age we see everyone retire at. This should also be the age limit for the government officials in office to help set that precedent. Age requirement of 65, two-term limit, Congresspeople serve 4-year instead of 2-year terms, and no campaigning more than 60 days before the election. And candidates can only use funds provided by public funds, tiered for each stage of the election process, with strict reporting requirements on where, how that money is spent. Yes, we need people who are in good mental shape to lead the country, and at around that age cognitive decline becomes more noticeable in many people. I agree. Who seeks out an 80-year-old surgeon or any professional? Some are good, but you don't go looking for them. We do have a minimum age for senator and U.S. president. Too bad the founding fathers didn't have the foresight to include a maximum age. Terms limits for all of them, including the Supreme Court, would be fairer. Let voters decide if they should serve rather than age restrictions. There are tangible benefits to not having term limits to Supreme Court justices. The problem, in my opinion, is the ease by which justice appointments can be gamified by politicians with malicious intent. If we solve the gamification of the Supreme Court, I don't think we need term limits there. Term limits may serve to render the Supreme Court a politically tied entity, which it ostensibly should not be. No, the problem isn't age, it's our election system. Politicians get old in office because it's so fucking hard to vote them out. End legal bribery, end FPTP, and we'll see a much healthier turnover in our political processes. No, absolutely not. Nor should there be a minimum age, apart from 18. The point of a representative democracy is that the people vote for whom they want. Putting restrictions on who can run serves no purpose other than invalidating the votes of people you disagree with. It's not up to you or me to decide who is valid as a candidate. That's the entire point of democracy. Edit. And to those of you that are convinced that if all the old people were just gone, then everyone would agree with you, you're ironically the exact kind of uninformed voter that you claim to be trying to prevent. I would go even younger at 70. Sure, that may mean we would lose Bernie. We would also be ditching McConnell, Pelosi, and the other fossils in office who refuse to address the problems we face. They refuse to address the problems because they created the problems decades ago. I am 82 years old. Personally, I feel that anyone my age who still gets off on power needs to be kept away from normal people. But to the point of this post, the world has been run by old people since the beginning of our species, and just look at the place. Yes, if you are intelligent to begin with, your wisdom and common sense will increase with age, but so will your cynicism. If you are a young jackass, you will become an old jackass, and a hidebound prejudiced old jackass at that. Give them a nice pension at 70, with the condition that if they mess with politics or government again, they lose the pension. I feel like if we were to attach an age to it, it should be the age of retirement, but I feel like it would be more important to have term limits. Limits would fix almost all the same issues and address more, without arbitrarily deciding someone is too old to serve the state. Term limit is the way to go. It is very interesting that this concept is embraced by conservatives and liberals alike but barely spoken about by powerful politicians, but more importantly the mainstream media, whether Fox or CNN. I think cognitive tests should be mandatory after the age of 70 for elected officials. The results should be made public as well. Start them whenever you are elected. Why put an age on it? Holy fuck shit, Reddit, anyone should have the chance to represent the people. Just don't vote for them. You psychopaths don't actually want democracy. I'd wager a solid 90% of the people that have commented advocating for age, term limits and cognitive testing didn't vote in the primaries, and probably 65%, if I'm being generous, won't vote in the general. Would rather see mandatory voting like Australia. I feel like making voting mandatory, with accommodations where it's difficult, election day a federal holiday, and using a ranked choice system would all be far more effective than setting age limits, even if we only did one. Mom said it's my turn to post this. What problem are you trying to solve by doing this? Apparently people want to be represented by ancient dinosaurs. A mental acuity test would be a better idea, otherwise you'll get ageism. Ageism regarding public office is written into the Constitution. Unless there's particularly rigorous and independent testing put into law, the problem is that whoever is doing the testing will be subservient to those being tested. We already saw Ronnie Jackson fawning over Trump's mental acuity for simply not having dementia. I'll be the contrarian. If you're good, regardless of age. I'll take a 75-year-old who is smarter, savvier, and better representative of my values than a 35-year-old. If you don't like them because they're senile, don't vote for them, that's all. Honestly, I feel the same about lower age limits that aren't just the age of majority. No, because I don't like excluding people based on age. Elders have long been respected for their experience and opinions in societies dating back to the first civilizations. I'd like to see reform in how we elect our leaders, but the arbitrary age of 75 being where we cut it off isn't it for me. Show me some data that states how to reform politics to reduce corruption and increase participation by the public and I'll support it wholeheartedly. No, because we have plenty of everyday people older than that who are smarter and more cognitively capable than someone in their 50s. And we already have a form of term limits. No elected position is for life. We get to go back to the voting booth every year and decide what happens. People have to stop being so uneducated and apathetic. Yes, but also, term limits would fix this and are just as important. Cognitive test, yes. Simple mandatory age? No.